Hello, it is Mac here, and today I'm going to talk about the Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2 DLC for GTA 5 and GTA Online and my thoughts on the DLC and sort of a review of the DLC. So, Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2 has been out for a week now, and the dust has kind of settled on the, newness of the DLC and, the excitement of a new DLC. Just a little bit, and I want to talk about my thoughts on the DLC. The DLC has been out for a while. I've had some pretty good time with most of the things in the DLC. Some of the vehicles, I haven't bought it online and stuff, and, I'm going to talk about those soon. And, so of course, I haven't bought every single clothing piece and, done exactly everything in the update. But most of the things I have done, I have tested out the new weapons, I have made videos on the new weapons and the new cars, and just, I want to be talking about the DLC and my thoughts on it, and what I feel Rockstar did right, and what also I feel like they did wrong. Now, I do have a playlist on my channel if you'd like to go check out all the videos I've made on the DLC. Then you can go check that out. There will be a playlist in the description. And if I talk about something here, then you may want to, look at a video on it. So if I'm talking about a new car, you may want to look at my customization guide and my showcase of that vehicle, or if I'm talking about the new weapons, you may want to check those out because those will all be in the playlist in the description. But overall, I do think that this was actually a pretty good DLC, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the vehicles, the weapons, the clothing, and some of the other things, patch notes, all that. So first off, let's start with the vehicles. Now the vehicles in the update, we got 6. 5 vehicles you could store, and then also a new boat, a new Pegasus vehicle that's a boat. A lot of the vehicles were mediocre. Let's start with the Vindicator. Now, that's a new bike. I personally don't really like it. I haven't used it in online, so I haven't used the curse feature, but I have used the Electro in like Heist and stuff, and I don't think it's going to be that different for a curse boost on the Vindicator. Now, the Vindicator isn't bad. I do kind of like the look of it. It's a little unique, especially the front, but just performance wise and all that, it's not that great. Like, it's pretty bad. I don't know exactly if it's better than Electro, but they are pretty much on the same pace because in races you can't actually use the Curse Power Boost. Now, the Curse Power Boost is nice, but for a bike that's, I believe, $630,000, it's not that great. And at least whenever I was using it in single player, it didn't feel all that great. It felt mostly like the thrust, which I could just buy the thrust for $75K, although I'm not going to do that because I'm not a huge fan of those cruising bikes and stuff. But moving on to the Chino. Now, I haven't actually made a video on the Chino, and that's just because I didn't feel like it. I mean, the Chino, it's more of the cheap vehicle in the game, or in the update, although it's about $200,000. To me, the problem with it is it felt like just a Virgo, it just felt like the same vehicles we've had, it just felt like that lowrider. It has some cool customization, but all the customization was the exact as we've already had on other vehicles, just thrown onto this one. I mean, the look of the vehicle is a lot like the Virgo and the Emperor, and even then, the Virgo wasn't even that original of a vehicle. The Virgo just didn't feel like that new of a vehicle, and whenever I was using it, I just didn't feel like it was that great. And even then, performance wise, it's not all that great. Now, customization isn't terrible, but it's the same as we've seen on other vehicles like the Peyote and vehicles like that. So the next vehicle is the Coil Brawler. Now, I haven't actually bought this in online because I don't really like the price tag of it. It's about $700,000, a little above $700,000. And it's okay. The customization isn't that bad. Just the feeling of the vehicle isn't that great. And to me, it feels a lot like the injection, like the BF injection. So to me, I'd rather just, use the BF injection than the Coil Brawler. But I'm sure some people do really like the Coil Brawler. But for me, I'm not a huge off-road fan. And I didn't really like it. Something about it, I didn't really like it. Now, next is the Blackfin, the Coquette Classic Blackfin, and I actually really like this vehicle. Not only does the look amazing, it's fun to drive. I just recently bought this because I got the rebate from the T20, so I got the 25% rebate. I used that money, which was about $550,000. I used that money, that I just got, and I used all that money to buy the Blackfin, and the Blackfin was amazing. Like, the customization on that thing, while it's not the most extensive, for at least for muscle cars, for a kind of mix between the muscle cars and the sports classics, I really like the vehicle. I think it just looks amazing. And, while on one hand I kind of would like it to be a sports classic, if it was a sports classic, then it wouldn't be as great because I already have a lot of sports classics, but I don't really have many muscle cars. I mean, the muscle cars I really use are the Phoenix, Ruiner, and the Dukes, and that's about it. So I kind of really like a more classic muscle car, which is quite nice. And it's on the pace of a lot of the muscle cars, which is quite nice. Now, personally, I don't really race muscle cars, but I feel like now with the Blackfin, I'm going to be using that car a lot more because it's actually pretty good. Another cool thing about it being in the muscle car category, even though it's a lot like the sports classic, so because it's a muscle car, the customization on it, the engine and the brakes and all those will cost the same amount as a muscle car and not a sports classic. Sports classics are quite expensive, and even then the Blackfin is pretty expensive, and I would have liked it to be maybe a little faster, just so that I could compete a little more for that price tag, but personally, I just really like the vehicle. I think it just looks amazing, and it's a very fun car to drive. Probably the most anticipated vehicle of the DLC, and that's the T20. And I actually really like the vehicle. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the McLaren P1, and the look of the vehicles, I don't really like how it looks so much similar to the other supercars, but it's a very fun car. And whenever I started driving it, you guys may have felt the same, whenever I bought the vehicle in single bar, I was like, this car feels nice. I didn't get that feeling with the Osiris. Whenever I bought the Osiris, like, it was cool, and, it looked cool and stuff, but just something about the T20, just something about it. I just really like the feeling of the vehicle. It's very nice. It looks pretty good. The look, it's okay. Not the best looking vehicle in my opinion. Also not the best sounding. And also the customization was a little lackluster. But for a supercar, I kind of expect that. But overall, the vehicle is quite nice. There are a few gripes I have with it. But overall, it's a very fun vehicle. Next is a Lampadaddy Toro, which I have not used, at least much. I was in a public session with some guy, and he was using it. And I drove it around a little bit, and I've also used it in races and stuff, but personally, it's just not my kind of boat. I'm not a boat guy. Although it does look nice, for the price tag, I'm not gonna buy it. Although it does look nice, I'll be honest. It does look pretty nice. It's also not that fast, so I don't know. Overall, it's not the best in my opinion. But if I were to buy a boat, if the price tag wasn't that high, if I was to buy a boat, I would buy it. Although I already have the speeder, and I already have the other boats that I want to use, and I don't even really use boats anyways. So there's that. So the vehicles in the update were pretty good. There were about 2 I really liked, and some of the other ones I kind of like, but for the price tag, I just don't want to buy it online. But if I had more money, then I would have probably bought them. And if I also had more space in my garage, then I would have bought them. But moving on to the weapons, I really do like the weapons in the update. Now, personally, I went in with the weapons. I was like, you know what? I don't really care about these weapons. I mean, we're getting a single-shot pistol. I don't care about it. We're getting a melee weapon. I don't care about. And I still don't care about the brass knuckles. I mean, they're quite powerful. But just personally, I'm not a melee guy, and I just don't really like running around with melee weapons. So there's that. But the one-shot marksman pistol, it is amazing. I was very surprised with it. And on the first day of the release, and this was a few hours after the DLC, I played a deathmatch with the weapon, and it was amazing. Like, right whenever I spawned into the deathmatch, I went on like a 5 or 6 kill streak, right? Right at the beginning. And I wanted to put that in the gameplay for GTA 5 Gun Guide on the marksman pistol. If you want to go check that out, then you can go check that out on my channel. But for some reason, the gameplay got corrupt, and every time I put it into Sony Vegas, it crashes the Sony Vegas. So, yeah, I can't show you guys that gameplay, but it was fun. The weapon is very fun. I don't know if I'm gonna use it much. It's fun, whenever you're going up against other people that are using a marksman pistol, but of course we can't use DLC weapons in death matches and LTSs and stuff. And so while it would be fun, I don't know how it's going to compete with the assault rifles and stuff, which it probably won't. You have to be very accurate, and there's, a bit of lag, whenever you're using it. Sometimes it gets one hit kills, sometimes it gets two. I don't know exactly how that is. Sometimes it's a little delayed in your shot as well, but overall the weapon's quite nice. I would have liked a bit of customization on it, maybe a scope or something like that. I think that would have been nice. But overall, it's a pretty fun weapon. Next is the clothing, and I was actually kind of disappointed by the clothing. I mean, we've gotten new scarves, but the problem with the scarves is that you can only really use them on, I think some of the leather jackets and some of the, new trench coats. And I really like the scarves in the game, but overall, everything else just felt more of the same from the DLC 1. We didn't get any new mask, which I was kind of disappointed by. We didn't I don't think we got any in Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1. The clothing items were mediocre for the most part. It was more of the same. It wasn't bad, but more of the same. So that's clothing. Patch notes and stuff, I kind of was a little happy with them. I don't think that there was really anything disappointing about the patch notes. There wasn't any huge changes that really, stuck out to me and is like, why did they patch this? I can't remember really anything like that. Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1, there were quite a few things like that, that they patched that I was kind of disappointed by, and I wish they wouldn't have patched. But overall, in Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2, there weren't many changes. I mean, to be honest, there weren't many changes in the patch notes, but what they did change, there were some good features. A few that I noticed were you can now use SMGs when hanging off the side of vehicles and in the back of a vehicle. Whenever you're in the back of a van or something, you can shoot out the SMGs and stuff, which is a small feature, but it is nice. Also, one of the biggest changes was to the creator, where you can now place props and make jobs in the airports and stuff. So that's in the Los Santos International Airport and Fort Zancudo. I've actually had a lot of fun with those, and it is quite nice that we've gotten those. Also, another thing is that whenever you're using the Savage, you can shoot rockets with it, which is quite nice. It does make the Savage a little better with friends and stuff. Now, personally, I would have liked the rockets to have been the rockets that are, the cannon that's on the Valkyrie. I like that a bit more. But, it isn't that bad of, some changes with the game. And patch 1.28, I would have liked some weapon changes and stuff. And if you want to go check out the patch notes, then I have a video on that as well. You can go check that out. But overall, the update was pretty good. Now, I just want to say that I went into this update with very low expectations. It just felt more of the same, even before the DLC came out. And I was actually quite surprised by it. I don't think the longevity is that great, but I've been having a lot of fun with the update, and there weren't really disappointments with the DLC. Sure, the Vindicator, it's super expensive, I'm not going to buy it. The Coil Brawler, I think, was a little too expensive. I think it would have been better at maybe $500,000 or something. Same with the Vindicator. I think the Vindicator could have been better at $300,000. But overall, I'm just not going to buy those vehicles. The DLC, I went in with very low expectations. Just the cars didn't seem that interesting. The weapons didn't seem interesting at all. The clothing didn't seem interesting. And just a lot of the features just didn't seem interesting. Now, I would have liked something different with the DLC. I would have liked, something surprising with the DLC. And we didn't get that. Which, I didn't really expect that, but I think that would have been a welcome change. We've been getting the same updates recently, and, ever since the game's come out, we've gotten, the same DLC with new weapons, new guns, and new clothing. But, what we did get wasn't that bad. There were these small problems that I've had with, Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1 and Part 2. So let me know your thoughts on this DLC in the comments. Do you like it? Do you not? Was there any, disappointments that you've had? What was your favorite part of it? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoy. Feedback is always appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.